Woon Sowol was it took away the poison grass and screamed extremely angrily, "Damn you damn deer, don't run away." No matter how much Woon Sowol screamed, it still kept running away with no intention of stopping. Again, Woon Sowol didn't think much and quickly ran after him. Where did this deer come from? It looks like a normal deer, but why does it run away with its poison in its mouth? It doesn't look like a spirit beast. Moreover, its speed is also extremely fast. It's not good, it's about to run into the fog. No matter what, we have to catch it before it enters inside. Thinking of this, he immediately turned to the binding seal to catch it again. The deer running in front also sensed it and turned around to look back. As soon as it turned around, it was hit by the binding seal. Woon Sowol grabbed his horns and legs. He caught it, but its spiritual power was too strong. If that was the case, he would have to use that move. Woon Sowol then tried to convert the binding seal into a giant golden net shoots down towards it. See where you run to. The deer had no way to avoid it and was quickly caught and tied up by Woon Sowol. You walked up to it and couldn't stop wondering. Finally, you were caught. Where did this deer come from? Unexpectedly, the deer then slowly transformed into human form. Woon Sowol saw this and widened his eyes in horror. He looked at the woman in front of him suspiciously and asked, "Are you a good person? Is it a demon?" The woman shouted angrily, "Are you blind, looking at me like that like a monster? This young girl with a beautiful appearance like a flower was caught by you. You're really too rude." Woon Sowol took out his long sword and pointed at her and said harshly, "Okay, and you don't look like a demon beast either. What demon beast carries a storage bag on its body? But if you dare to play tricks, be careful of your little life." The woman was so angry that she gritted her teeth but didn't dare to do anything rash. Woon Sowol saw that she was so reasonable. Then continued talking, "As long as you obediently hand over the supreme chrysanthemum, I will spare your life." The woman shouted angrily, "Good dream, you thief." Woon Sowol was startled. "What do you mean by theft? You actually said I was a thief." The woman shouted back angrily, "Is there anyone else here besides you? You want to steal the supreme chrysanthemum that others painstakingly nurtured. If this isn't theft, then what is?" Woon Sowol's face is full of doubts. "What do you mean by that? Why is it painful to nurture? Supreme chrysanthemum in poisonous swamp grows naturally, so how can it have an owner? Obviously you took the opportunity to take it from my hand and run away. You're the thief." The woman screamed, "You're an idiot. You idiot doesn't know anything. Do you know how much effort I spent? Blood to nourish it?" Woon Sowol startled, "Enthusiastic?" The woman nodded, "That's right, it was her passion." Woon Sowol continued to ask, "Tell me, how long did it take you to raise it?" The woman raised 2 fingers, "At least 20 years. Woon Sowol surprised, "You said you have been cultivating supreme chrysanthemum in this poisonous swamp for more than 20 years? The woman put on a pitiful look and nodded repeatedly. Woon Sowol sighed, saying that, "This supreme chrysanthemum plant is really yours." The woman was so excited when she heard that. "Well, you are the last one. I finally understand." Woon Sowol asked again, "That is to say, have you always been in the poisonous swamp for the past 20 years? Hearing that, the woman was startled and her eyes widened. "Oh, I just said the wrong thing. This supreme chrysanthemum plant was not planted by me. I really wanted to steal supreme chrysanthemum. Now give it back to you. Take it away." Woon Sowol wondered, "Why did you suddenly turn over faster than rice paper?" The woman is a little impatient and explodes again. "I told you it's yours, give it back to you." Woon Sowol explains, "No, I don't mean to steal other people's things. I ask you, are you a descendant of the Valley of Secrets?" When the woman heard him ask this question, she gritted her teeth and screamed, "I see that you are not a good person." Her aura suddenly changed. The binding seal that was tied to her was also broken. She used great force to escape. Woon Sowol saw this and immediately raised his shield to act as a defense. The woman broke free from control and continued to scream loudly, "You are just like those bad people." Woon Sowol doubts, "What are those deep people?" The woman's voice was harsh, "Stop talking nonsense." After speaking, she waved her hand and sent out a cloud of toxic smoke to attack. Woon Sowol immediately used the wind magic to blow away the toxic smoke. The woman saw the toxic smoke. When she was hit back, she was terrified, but she was counterattacked. She quickly jumped into the air to avoid the poisonous smoke. Un Sowol waved her hand again to activate the 3 long swords. The woman did not flinch when she saw the long sword coming at her. She immediately waved her hand and let go of the demon spiders and shouted loudly, "Blocking them for me." Un Sowol saw these spiders and I couldn't help but remember the appearance of the big spider in the magical beast forest. The appearance of the big spider I saw in the magical beast forest was very scary. And this spider that she released even spewed yellow poisonous silk, so they were the best. Determined to be the golden silk spider. The golden silk spider under the woman's control immediately sprayed silk and hit Un Sowol. Un Sowol saw that and immediately retreated. I guessed right. Spiderweb, this golden thread is stronger than a rope. How could a young girl have these 2 spiders? How could she do that? Un Sowol didn't think much of it and immediately let go of Wanwan. Hurry up and cut its rope. Wanwan jumped up, then opened his mouth to spit out countless thunder. The spider silk that was attacking was immediately attacked. This move cuts it off. The woman saw this and thought in horror, what? A small high-class demonic beast? And yet it was possible to cut the silk of a golden silk spider so easily? Un Sowol took this moment to shout loudly at her, "Wait, I don't want to fight with you. I just want to ask why Bao Shin sect's people are targeting you guys." Woman snorted coldly, "I don't want to talk to a thief." Un Sowol helpless, "But I want to talk to you." At that moment he felt something and his eyes widened. Out back, someone is coming here. One is in the An KY period and the other is a Yang Kwang KY. It seems that the girl in the middle of the An KY period can't run even if she wants to run. Thinking for a moment he then turned towards the girl. "Shout loudly, there's a Yang Luang Chi magician coming from the other side. You quickly take back the golden silk spider and then turn into a deer." The woman's face is full of disbelief. "What is that? Do you want to take advantage of my unpreparedness and capture me?" Un Sowol tried to explain, "I didn't lie to you. If you run away now they will definitely catch you at all costs." Very quickly Chu Jaesing and Yom Jang came from behind. "Come on, what's going on here?" Un Sowol turned his head to look at them and smiled. It turned out to be Senior Yom. Yom Jang frowned and said harshly, "I ask you again, what happened here?" The other woman has now turned back into a deer standing next to Un Sowol. Even though she was questioned, Un Sowol still did not flinch. "What do you mean by that? I was a bit confused when you asked so suddenly." Yom Jang glanced next to him and asked, "What is that deer?" Un Sowol immediately explained when he heard that, "Oh, what did you say?" "I just caught it, planning to use it as my practice pet." "It's it." Yom Jang was a little surprised when he saw Wanwan. "Is it fragrance tracer feline?" Un Sowol nodded. "That's right, this kid is also very difficult to serve." "You saw it too, now I'm training him how to attack." Chu Jaesing was surprised again at this time. "Isn't this supreme chrysanthemum? This is an extremely rare poisonous grass. Did you pick it?" Un Sowol nodded. "Yes, I saw it growing alone in a place with extremely strong spiritual energy. That was very unusual, so I picked it down. According to what you said, I can sell it for a good price." "That's right. Why are you two here? Aren't you guys always following me?" Chu Jaesing smiled and explained, "Look at you. I explained to you last time, our ultimate goal is to find the descendants of the former the Valley of Secrets. Fuong sect. I've also met people from the Valley of Secrets. They all appear in places with clear blue skies like this, so we came here to take a look." Un Sowol looked up at the sky and exhaled, "Really? I see there's nothing special here." Chu Jaesing stroked his beard and smiled. "Well, there's really nothing special." Un Sowol frowned. "What exactly do you want to say?" Chu Jaesing smiled. "If you don't understand, I will explain again. The Valley of Secrets has a very special group of people living there. They have practiced a very special kind of bravery. In particular, people are called blue eyes and purple hair. That means their pupils are blue. When exposed to sunlight their whole body will emit purple light. They also have the special ability to turn into animals. They can turn into animals. Bears, wolves, birds and other animals. It is said that the abilities of the animal they transform into will be enhanced after transformation." Un Sowol sighed. "Will he get stronger after transforming? It's really hard to think about." His heart suddenly awakened. No wonder that girl ran so fast. Chu Jaesing nodded. "Yes, at first I didn't believe this, but I saw it with my own eyes. It's impossible not to believe if you see it. Un Sowol doubts, did you see it with your own eyes? Chu Jae-sing nodded, that's right, at that time we captured a person. This person at first glance still looks like a leopard, but when fighting he can turn into a beast. Un Sowol nodded, so that's the case, can't you get any information from him? Chu Jae-sing sighed, we tried our best, but that guy would rather die than surrender and didn't say a word. Torture didn't work, so we changed it. Change interrogation methods, for example, would torturing their accomplices right in front of them be more effective than torturing them themselves? Because of my accomplices, they will be able to obediently declare. Un Sowol is so high, it's too pathetic. Chu Jae-sing laughed loudly, haha, this is also very effective. Luckily we have a few people has the ability to judge. Although it will leave some after effects, it will not take their lives. Okay, now you can give this deer to me. The woman couldn't control herself when she heard that, but stepped back. Yeom Jang frowned and raised his hand to use magic to attack her. The woman was immediately surrounded by fire. Seeing this, Wanwan immediately jumped from the woman's body and jumped back to Un Sowol's side. After putting Wanwan back in his storage bag, Un Sowol angrily shouted at Yeom Jang, what are you doing? Chu Jae-sing laughed loudly, how long are you going to pretend to be stupid? This deer was turned into by a descendant of the Valley of Secrets. Using it to train demonic beasts is truly a pity. If you leave it to us, we will be able to extract important evidence from within. His mouth at all costs. After speaking, he immediately waved his hand and threw a net at the woman. Un Sowol had no other choice but to stop. Chu Jae-sing's net was immediately blocked by him. Use the binding seal to fly away. Chu Jae-sing coldly laughed, as expected you already knew. Un Sowol's eyebrows furrowed, I don't know if it is a descendant of the Valley of Secrets or not. I only know it's because I caught it and it belongs to me. You want to rob me of my things at will, right in front of me, how can I not do it? Don't think I'm so easy to bully. Chu Jae-sing smiled and explained, haha, you misunderstood, I didn't mean this at all. I didn't come to compete with you for credit, I came to help. Support the young master. The sect's goal is to get the treasures of the descendants of the Valley of Secrets. If this mission fails, perhaps the young master will not receive those books. Un Sowol silently thought in his heart, this person is very good at lying. If he let him take her back, he would definitely torture her to death. After thinking for a moment, he coldly snorted and spoke up, really? I don't think there's anything unusual about this deer. Yeom Jang on the side shouted angrily, you've made me angry, then I'll prove it to you. Finished talking again, he waved his hand and struck out a palm towards the woman. The woman saw the opponent's attack coming and hesitated, had to make a move. She didn't hesitate anymore and quickly transformed back into her form. The person who used the tactical technique blocked the opponent's attack, this damn bald man. Even though she performed the tactical technique very quickly, she still couldn't keep up, the opponent's attack hit her in front of her. Okay, damn, it's one step slower. With her as the center, a powerful explosion immediately erupted, causing dust to scatter. The woman saw that she was still unharmed and whispered, I can block it. She quickly realized that it wasn't her who blocked the opponent's attack, but Un Sowol who helped her block it, it was you. Why do you help me? Un Sowol didn't answer but coldly stared at Yeom Jang. Yeom Jang on the opposite side was also looking at him with raised eyebrows. Chu Jae-sing was on the side silently thinking. Deputy Master Xiao Bing said the name of the little girl. This guy is not normal. Indeed, he actually used the light screen to protect his aura to easily solve Yeom Jang's anti-inflammatory technique. He is really very strong. After thinking for a moment, he immediately headed towards Un Sowol said, thank you Senior Yeom and young Master Un Sowol for taking action. Now I can be sure that this person is a descendant of the Valley of Secrets. Un Sowol glanced at him seriously. How can I tell if the speaker is real or fake? Chu Jae-sing laughed. Haha, I can understand that this situation is easy to misunderstand. Anyway, now we have figured it out. It's time to escort. She came to see Zhang Yu and Senior Ma, do you think so? Let's ask their opinions, see what method we use to get information out of her mouth. That's right, young Master Un Sowol has achieved great success. I will honestly report this to the Vice President. Sir. Un Sowol glanced at the woman behind him and thought, I cannot break into Poisonous Swamp without the help of Senior Zhang Yu and Ma. If Chu Jaesing wants to take her directly back to Bao Xin, I will definitely stop her, but if I hand her over to Zhang Yu and Ma Jeju, I won't have any legitimate reason to stop her." Seeing Woon Sowol just standing there, Chu Jaesing immediately smiled. "Come closer to the lady, then I will consider that the young master has agreed." At this moment Woon Sowol reached out to hold his shoulder to stop him. "Wait, if you have been caught by me, then will be interrogated by me." The woman standing on the side heard this and was so angry that she gritted her teeth. "What is this bastard?" She was then arrested and tied up by them and led away. Woon Sowol's sweet thoughts keep turning in my head. What should I do? I came to this poisonous swamp to record memories. But using this method to achieve my goal is a bit wrong. The woman walking in front suddenly turned around and glanced at him. He opened his mouth and spoke in a voice that only two people could hear. The person who reported being taken away was my brother. Woon Sowol heard that and was shocked like a thunderbolt. The woman continued to ask the question. "The last question I want to ask you. Can I trust you?" Woon Sowol heard her question and suddenly stood still. They quickly returned to Ma Jeju's group. When Zhang Yu saw them returning with a woman, he became suspicious. "You guys are back. Who is this woman?" Chu Jaesing smiled and explained that this senior woman is a descendant of the Valley of Secrets. As long as we get information from this woman and find out the location of their stronghold, then we can complete the task excellently. Zhang Yu exclaimed in surprise. "Right, Woon Sowol, sir? Is what Chu Jaesing said true?" Woon Sowol sighed. "This is completely coincidental. I don't know if what he said is true." Chu Jaesing glanced at the female senior and smiled. "Poisonous swamp is so dangerous. Is a weak woman like her, is it possible to live alone here? Everyone has seen it, purple hair and blue eyes, completely consistent with the identifying characteristics of those descendants." Zhang Yu walked in front of the woman. "I'd like to ask, if you'll excuse me, are you really someone born and raised in poisonous swamp?" The woman turned her head and snorted coldly without responding. Zhang Yu reassured, "Don't be afraid, can you tell me your name?" Chu Jaesing came over and said, "Senior, if you ask like this, she won't say. I have two options. Senior, let's see." Zhang Yu is confused. "What option?" Chu Jaesing quickly explained that the first option is to let her swallow the magic potion. After she swallows the magic potion, her mind will not be able to stay awake for a few days. This is very beneficial. For our interrogation, Zhang Yu asked again, "So what is option 2? Chu Jaesing replied, directly handing her over to Bao Xin sect headquarters, where there are many interrogation experts who will definitely have a way to pry her mouth. Zhang Yu heard this and whispered coldly, "No matter the plan. She will be tormented anyway. How should this be done?" Thinking for a moment, he sighed and said, "If he gave it to the group, it would delay time. He should still use medicine. If it doesn't work, then think of another way later." The woman's face appeared full of melancholy. She glanced behind Woon Sowol. At this moment, Woon Sowol's voice rang in her ear again, "Hearing me go take medicine." The woman was startled and asked again, "After I fell into a coma. What if I don't say it carefully?" Woon Sowol reassured, "Don't worry, I have a way." Zhang Yu continued to ask Chu Jaesing, "How long does it take for the medicine to take effect?" Chu Jaesing stroked his chin and replied that it would take about 5 days. Zhang Yu turned around and gave you 3 days. If after that it still doesn't work, then I will take action myself. Chu Jaesing went over and grabbed the woman to marry him. Strangely fierce. "Okay, I'll feed her the medicinal pill right away and we'll review after 3 days. After I fed the woman the medicinal pill, he immediately locked her in an iron cage. Next, arranged 2 soldiers to guard her. Woon Sowol silently pondered, "I have to wait for the opportunity. Wait until I have an opening to take action. What if something goes wrong? Will make everyone angry, and then it will be very troublesome. This cage is also very strange. Why does she have to be kept in a cage that holds demonic beasts? Moreover, this cage is made of material that absorbs spiritual energy, so destroying it is not an easy task." At this moment, Chu Jaesing came to the side to ask, "Why is the young master always looking at me? Hitting her so hard? It seems like this is not necessary, right?" Woon Sowol sighed, "I'm afraid someone will rob the prison." Chu Jaesing also sighed, "It seems like the young master has been thinking too much." Woon Sowol glanced at him suspiciously, "Am I thinking too much? What should we do if people from the Valley of Secrets come to attack us?" Chu Jae calmly replied, if they really come, it will be very beneficial for us. Un Sowol's face was full of doubts. Are you too confident? You're so comfortable. I guess you already have a plan to deal with it, right? Chu Jae smiled. How to deal with it? At that point, there's still time to think. Even if they come, it's useless. We can't destroy the cage ourselves. Don't forget we still have the general's main force Magi. This medicine will begin to have an effect. Just as he said, the woman quickly began to show symptoms of drug addiction. Chu Jae walked over and smiled and asked, do you have anything you want? Say no? It's right to be so obedient, to speak early to avoid physical pain. But unexpectedly, the woman still hadn't lost her sanity. She waited for him to get closer and then opened her mouth to squirt spit on his face. Chu Jae wiped away the saliva and laughed extremely sinisterly. Haha, this damn girl. It seems like you were invited to drink and didn't want to drink as punishment. Things were progressing smoothly. It's too convenient and not interesting at all. This is just what I want. As he spoke, he started to torture and continuously slap the woman's face. Un Sowol outside saw this and his eyebrows furrowed. After a while, Chu Jae came out from inside. I'll see how long you can endure. The tortured woman knelt down inside the cage. She slightly raised her head and looked towards Un Sowol. Un Sowol saw her eyes and reassured her, believe me. A moment later, taking advantage of the crowd not paying attention, he quietly walked over and touched the cage. He stimulated the spiritual energy sensor and thought to himself. As expected, it was created using materials that absorbed spiritual energy. It seems I have to think about it. There's another way. At this moment, an old man came up and asked, Un Sowol, what are you doing? It's still early before shift change time, but Un Sowol didn't notice him turn around and leave. How can I handle this cage? Four masters, if you were human, what would you do? In his mind, he began to recall Zhang Gan's teachings. Un Sowol, now I will teach you the escape technique of yellow cicadas. Waiting for the day when you come to the sun, if that day is if you are imprisoned, you can use this technique to escape. Un Sowol sighed, is it positive? I don't know when I will be able to reach that realm. Zhang Gan warned, you rotten boy must plan everything in advance. Don't be afraid of the worst case scenario. Just fear the worst case scenario. Who knows, maybe one day I will trick you today. If you teach me, what if I can save my life in the future? Remembering Zhang Gan's teachings, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but lift up. Thank you, fourth master, I will follow your method. Very quickly, night fell and the moon reached the top of the sky. The old man who was guarding the cage looked behind him suspiciously and asked, Un Sowol sir, why are you so late? Un Sowol smiled, sorry I just went to explore around for a while so I was a little late. The old man's face was full of doubts. What have you been busy with lately? Yesterday was the same. Un Sowol was startled. Yesterday? He smiled and remembered what happened yesterday. Chu Jae interrogation of the woman had begun to get some information. Oh, your name is Gwakmi. Are you the sister of the cheated Gwak Shin? This is really good news. Okay, now quickly tell me your hideout and the number of your accomplices. Gwakmi hesitated and did not answer. This. Chu Jae continued to manipulate the mind. Don't worry, just calm down and say it. Whatever you say, just take it slow. Unexpectedly, Gwakmi still hasn't completely lost consciousness, waiting for him to bring his ear closer to her. Immediately opened his mouth and bit his ear. Chu Jae screamed in pain, then threw her aside. Seeing that she refused to speak, he immediately raised his hand and wanted to slap her a few times. But as soon as his hand waved, he was caught by a spiritual force, blocking it. The one who made the move was Un Sowol. Chu Jae face darkened and shouted, Un Sowol sir. What does it mean? You quickly let me go. Un Sowol sighed, as the saying goes, a gentleman won't do anything when he speaks, and it's because your medicine hasn't absorbed enough, and look, she didn't bite you. Chu Jae smiled, sometimes I can't help but doubt if young master Un Sowol and we are on the same side, especially today. Un Sowol replied calmly, on the same side? You and I are not of the same mind, we just happened to meet and become friends. I never thought I was on the same side as you. When Chu Jae heard that, he suddenly became speechless. After a while, he said harshly, I really can't say what you want to do. I warn you that if you continue to act like this, you will suffer the consequences. Besides, it's not your turn to stand guard yet, so don't stand anywhere and cause an eyesore, go around and explore." The old man sighed and said, "Today you are too much." Woon Sowol, young master, just now Senior Yom, was also here and almost caused a big problem. "You keep doing that sooner or later. Everything involves this. I hope next time you won't repeat something like this." Woon Sowol turn around and walk away. "I know you can rest assured." The old man was engrossed in talking to Woon's clone. Sowol in front without noticing that Woon Sowol's body had now quietly approached the cage. He transmitted the sound to GWAKMI to retreat while waving his hand to condense spiritual energy. Next, without hesitation, he grabbed the iron bars tightly. Looking at the cracks on the bars, he couldn't help but secretly rejoice. Great, the iron door has begun to shrink. The old man keeping watch in the distance suddenly felt there's something wrong. Why is there suddenly a cold feeling? He turned his head and looked back in horror. Woon Sowol did not know when he appeared next to the iron door, causing spiritual energy to hit the iron door. He couldn't understand and exclaimed, "Woon Sowol dude, what are you doing here?" Seeing that Woon Sowol did not pay attention to him, he immediately threw a magic weapon to attack him. But unexpectedly, before his attack could reach Woon Sowol, he disappeared on the spot without a trace. The old man was terrified. The first person was gone. While he was to my dismay, Woon Sowol appeared behind him at some point. The old man noticed that he turned around to look and it was too late. Woon Sowol kicked him away without any mercy. Next, he immediately opened his mouth and spit out the true fire of samadhi to hit the cage, alternately using yin cold extreme attack and the true fire of samadhi, causing the iron door to shrink. With a little more effort, it was almost done. Success. The scene changes back to when Woon Sowol was still inside the magical beast forest. Woon Sowol was beaten by Jonggon. His head turned into smoke and he lay on the ground sighing. "Oh my god, even true fire samadhi couldn't melt it." "Well, then what else can you try, master?" Jonggon coldly snorted. "What is the rotten boy the master is talking about? Haven't I told you before? You don't have to use only true fire samadhi, but you have to use a combination of yin and yang energy together. You have to be patient, careful and speed up, then rely on your creation." Woon Sowol asked doubtfully, "What if I can't do it?" Jonggon smiled. "If you can't do that, you can only die in prison, so you must remember my words carefully. The heat of true fire samadhi and the coldness of cold extreme yin work, each of which has its own type of properties. What would happen if these two things were combined together? They will definitely be incompatible and mutually exclusive. If these two forces become more and more powerful, they will eventually automatically explode." Just as Jonggon said, Woon Sowol has finally broken locked in a cage. GWAKMI inside was surprised to see that. Woon Sowol took advantage of the time and immediately rushed to save her. But he just ran a few steps, just in time. Chu Jasing's voice rang out in my ear, "Please stop for me." As soon as he finished speaking, he used his magic to attack you. Woon Sowol didn't try to dodge and instead cast it into the light curtain of the room. His spiritual energy protected him. His steps did not slow down. He immediately jumped into the cage, hugged GWAKMI and walked out. "Trust me, leave the rest to me. Your body is already covered. Surrounded by fire." Chu Jasing shouted angrily, "How dare you sabotage my prison sentence?" Woon Sowol woke up. Turns out it's called a prison sentence. This thing is it appropriate to lock up people who have lost their spiritual power? I don't think it's any good. If the old doesn't go, the new can't come. I think you should change to a new one. Chu Jasing was so angry that he burst out laughing. "It's really Mr. Woon Sowol. Actually, I don't consider you one of our people at all. From the beginning I found you very annoying. Now it's okay. I don't need to waste any more words on you. Prepare yourself mentally." Woon Sowol laughed. "Prepare yourself mentally? Then, everyone, get ready to fight." Yom Jang heard that and was so angry that he gritted his teeth, clenched his hands and immediately condensed the magic. The flames that filled the sky immediately rushed down towards Woon Sowol. Woon Sowol then switched to the protective spiritual light screen to catch him. In his mind, he secretly thought, if he continued to drag himself with the two of them for too long, the other healers would definitely run away. Thinking of this, he immediately jumped up and wanted to leave. When Chu Jasin and his friends saw this move, they suddenly felt a bit stunned. Then, without any hesitation, they flew after him. Un Sowol glanced at them, thinking in his heart, they had indeed chased past here. But at this crawling speed, it's not easy to catch up with me. You two also know for a moment, there was no way to catch up with Un Sowol, so while flying, he waved his hand and attacked him, wanting to disturb and slow him down. Un Sowol switched to a protective spiritual energy light screen. Despite their attacks, he still rushed forward without paying attention. After a while he reached the outside of the fog area. Ahead was the fog area, he just needed to get inside the fog. Even if they want to arrest me, there's no way. Chu Jasin from behind also realized his intention and immediately shouted loudly, "Stop for me. If you dare to take one more step, I will turn you into a monster." The pursuit target of the entire Bao Xin sect. Once you are chased by the Bao Xin sect, no matter if you hide in any corner of Daewon Nation, the Bao Xin sect can find you. You will become the hunting target of the entire Bao Xin sect. Un Sowol paused slightly to glance at them. In his heart he silently thought, that is truly a huge price, it will directly turn him into a Bao Xin sect's enemy, but I don't need to worry too much about it. Thinking of this, he immediately ignored them and quickly flew into the fog. The two of Chu Jasin looked at Un Sowol disappearing right before your eyes makes you angry. Damn it, we have no way to catch him when he enters the fog. Un Sowol, I will definitely make you and the people around you pay. As soon as you fly into the fog, you slightly glanced down. The two people, Ma Jae-ju and Zhang Yu, were standing below and looked up. When they saw Un Sowol, they had no intention of making a move. Both of them acted like Unseen turned his head to look in another direction. Un Sowol saw that. The corner of his mouth involuntarily raised. Very quickly Un Sowol hid inside the fog and disappeared without a trace. Who knows how long ago, in a ravine inside the poisonous swamp, there is currently a horse carriage. Gwakmi is lying unconscious inside. Suddenly she woke up from her coma. As soon as she woke up, she sat up and held her head, the pain still not completely gone. After a while, she jumped out of bed in surprise. Where is this? Soon Un Sowol's voice came from outside. Are you awake? Un Sowol was always watching outside the carriage waiting for her to wake up. Waiting for Gwakmi to come out, he went over to ask, seeing that she was able to walk normally and perhaps her body was gone. Obstacle, right? Gwakmi turned around a bit unnaturally. Why did you save me? Un Sowol sighed. Didn't I tell you? You must trust me, it's just that Bao Xin sect has many strong people. I don't know how to deal with it in the future. Gwakmi heard that and immediately screamed, what? Are you an idiot? Un Sowol calmly explained that we and them are different. I don't have the habit of stealing other people's things. Gwakmi helplessly frowned. What an idiot. Un Sowol saw his appearance. I couldn't help but smile at her cute face. He slowly approached her. Is she treating her life-saving benefactor like that? Gwakmi bowed her head thoughtfully. After a while, she shyly turned her head away and said, "Thank you, idiot brother." Un Sowol looked at her and smiled. Okay, just say this from her. Sigh, just thinking about how to deal with them in the future gives me a headache. Gwakmi suddenly reached out her hand to demand, yes, quickly give me back my things. Un Sowol looked at her suspiciously. What map? Gwakmi calmly replied, it's Supreme Chrysanthemum. Un Sowol's eyes widened, his head full of doubt. What is this child thinking? Thinking for a moment he asked, Supreme Chrysanthemum, why? Gwakmi explained, it was always raised by me, it originally belonged to me. I have to quickly bring it back, you quickly return it to me. Un Sowol interrupted, wait, this is because I picked it and at that time she voluntarily gave it to me. Gwakmi calmly replied, it was just because you asked too many questions at that time so I only pretended to agree with you. This poisonous herb is very important to us. For me, I must have it. Un Sowol is a bit angry. Why did you say what you said but didn't keep it? Gwakmi's face was full of confusion. What do you mean? It was originally mine. Un Sowol is helpless and doesn't know what to do. What kind of person is that? Isn't that so shameless of you? Gwakmi shouted angrily, what is called shamelessness? I am its owner, it belongs to me. Woon Sowol asked again, was it planted by you? Gwakmi stroked her claws and thought, but that's not true, it grew there on its own, only after we discovered it did we take care of it. Woon Sowol laughed, he at most, she has only taken care of it for a while, so it doesn't completely belong to her, so she can't let it go like that now. If she really wants it, she can satisfy it. Agree with me or take it back with your own strength, or is the outfit you're wearing made from the silk of a golden spider? Gwakmi looked at her clothes suspiciously and nodded, yes, how did you know? Woon Sowol explained, the color of the clothes was the same as the color of the spider web. More than half the time I used flame magic. Your clothes were still intact so I realized that. Gwak, is that what you nod your head for? Woon Sowol, give your opinion, how do you feel like this? You helped me make a suit from the silk of the golden spider. I returned the supreme chrysanthemum to you, is everything okay? Gwakmi clapped her hands excitedly when she heard that, is that true? Woon Sowol nodded, of course it's true, this transaction is very satisfactory, right? Gwakmi laughed extremely fiercely and shouted, do you think I'm an idiot? Supreme chrysanthemum is an extremely rare poisonous plant, and the outfit made from the silk of the golden spider compared to it doesn't cost a penny. Woon Sowol sighed, so you already knew it? Gwakmi asked again. Just do you really need this golden spider silk? Woon Sowol nodded, he couldn't control himself as he walked around, if he could have this outfit, it would be easier to walk in the future. Gwakmi stroked her chin in thought, well, if I extracted the silk from that golden spider of mine, it would take some time, what should I do now? Thinking for a moment, she came up with an idea, how should I take you back to my place? At my house there are a lot of silk from golden silk spiders, so when we go there we can get them and give them to you. Woon Sowol was secretly startled, going to Gwakmi's house? Thinking for a moment, he nodded, of course, let's go quickly. Gwakmi exclaimed excitedly, that's great. I was worried about returning alone to this place. Because I still haven't fully recovered my spiritual power. Well, why don't you come a little closer? As soon as Woon Sowol approached her, she raised her hands. Woon Sowol saw this and her face was filled with confusion, what do you want to do? Gwakmi explained, what else can I do? Of course I will fulfill my promise, quickly raise both hands to face my palm. Even though Woon Sowol doesn't understand anything, in the end she still raised his hand to face her hand. Gwakmi laughed loudly excitedly, it is said that the palm of the hand is the warrior's weak point. You cannot attack others in this position. Holding hands means is to trust each other. I have already shown my trust in you, what about you? Woon Sowol woke up when he heard that, he smiled and looked at her, yeah me too. Gwakmi was happy. That means we both trust each other, right? The two of them then stepped on the clouds and flew away together. After a while Woon Sowol sighed, it seems like we have to take a detour. Gwakmi is suspicious, huh? Going around again, we've gone around 5 times already. Woon Sowol explained, there are too many warriors ahead. Gwakmi asked again, how many people are there? Woon Sowol's face was serious, about 50 people including Dr. Duong Kwang Ky. Gwakmi gasped in horror, huh? You're not lying to me, are you? Woon Sowol replied calmly, if you don't believe me, go see for yourself, I won't stop you. Gwakmi sighed, let it go, if there is a contract between us then I will trust you. Woon Sowol smiled and nodded, well that's right, is there any other way? Gwakmi sighed, and after flying for a while, she asked suspiciously, are you okay? Woon Sowol, hearing her ask that, I don't understand what the hell, what's the point? Gwakmi explained, this is the area with the densest poisonous mist and poisonous swamp, are you not affected? Woon Sowol calmly replied, yes, since childhood I have received very special training, especially learned how to resist poison from the great master. Gwakmi praised, you have a good master. Woon Sowol nodded, well, if it weren't for my master, I wouldn't be where I am today, but why weren't you affected? Gwakmi calmly replied, I live here, of course I will be immune to the poison here. The two flew for a while longer. Gwakmi suddenly stopped, Un Sowol also stopped breathing seeing that. Glancing at her, Gwakmi asked him, "Perhaps there is no magician here?" Un Sowol nodded. What's wrong?" Gwakmi reached into her shirt to look for something. "From now on you have to follow me closely, and you need to be blindfolded." Un Sowol in doubt, "Why'd I have to be blindfolded?" Gwakmi explained, "I did this all for your good. If you knew where we lived, then you would never be able to return, there would be countless battles along the way. Enchanting method, you will never be able to escape from this place." As she spoke, she took out a black cloth and gave it to him. "I'm sorry." After tying the cloth to cover my eyes, she asked again, "Is it sealed tight yet?" Un Sowol nodded, while he couldn't see anything. Gwakmi took your hand. "Okay, now hold my hand, remember to follow me closely. Be sure not to let go or else brother will get lost." Un Sowol followed her closely, silently thinking, as if she was going down. Still continuing to go down, until when do we have to go down? It sounds like the sound of lava moving. After a moment Gwakmi took off his blindfold. "We're there." As soon as Un Sowol opened his eyes, he saw himself standing inside a cliff. On all four sides of the cliff there are countless caves carved out to make a place to live. Gwakmi told me, "Please wait a bit and I will call my father and the others, I just don't know if they are there. Do you welcome me?" Un Sowol nodded. "Don't worry about me, go quickly." Un Sowol looked at the pile of spirit stones piled up next to him in amazement. Gwakmi saw so many high-grade spirit stones like this but didn't have the slightest bit of it. "Don't worry, if this place is exposed, let alone Bao Shin sect, even the doctor will be extremely covetous." Soon someone in the distance noticed him. That person just saw Un Sowol then shouted loudly from behind. Soon in front of Un Sowol countless flying warriors appeared. Un Sowol couldn't help but feel a cold sweat breaking out on his face. He didn't expect there to be so many people. It's just that none of them seemed to welcome him very much. After a while someone came up. "Hey, are you the one who saved my daughter?" Un Sowol looked at the middle-aged man walking next to Gwakmi and thought, "Is this person Gwakmi's father?" The middle-aged man quickly walked over and clasped hands with Un Sowol. "Thank you sir for saving my daughter. I am Gwakmi." Un Sowol politely clasped hands in return. "This is Un Sowol, senior guest." "Then it's just a small thing," Gwakmi explained, "because the young knight is an outsider. People here may not like it much, so please forgive me. I also hope that young master you can generously ignore it." Un Sowol nodded. "It's okay, I've mentally prepared in advance." Gwakmi turned around and made an invitation sign. "The central area is quite large. Let's go there and talk about inviting the young man to follow me." Un Sowol then quickly followed Gwakmi into the central area. "Okay, since everyone has arrived then let's get started." Just sat down Gwakmi immediately asked, "Young master Un Sowol, did you come here alone?" "Yes, if you'll excuse me, I'll be frank, there's no point in lying here. We have a lot of eyes and ears and spies on the outside, and we also know every move of the world." "Outside world?" Un Sowol calmly replied, "Everything I said is true, and I have already made an oath with Miss Gwakmi." Gwakmi heard that and looked at Gwakmi suspiciously. "Oath star? What oath did you make to him?" Gwakmi replied calmly, "It was the oath to trust each other." Gwakmi sighed, "The oath to trust each other?" I said, "Gwakmi, what about the agreement between us? Have you complied with it yet? I told you not to go out so many times but you didn't listen. You made us extremely worried every day, you know that? I've already lost Gwakmi. I can't lose you again. You've made everyone worry for a while, and now you've even brought back outsiders." Gwakmi bowed her head sadly. I'm sorry for making everyone worry. I won't do it again in the future, I swear to God." Gwakmi patted her head, "But no matter what, it's good that you're back safely. It's good that you blindfolded him like that. Gwakmi, if I don't blame myself then I'll be happy again." Gwakmi then continued to look at Un Sowol. "Okay then back to the main story let's go. Young master Un Sowol, let me introduce myself a bit. I am the monarch of Mango village Gwakmi. People in the gangsters often call me two-faced monarch. My mission is to protect our clan. There is also the elimination of outsiders. I have something to ask young Master Woon Sowol. I hope you don't refuse. If you refuse, our people will definitely be very heartbroken. Actually, it's not a big deal. I hope you stay in Mango Village forever. Woon Sowol heard that. His face darkened. What does this mean? With the current situation, I can only agree to their request. Thinking for a moment, he then asked Gwak Yang, "Are you worried that after I go out, I will secretly report to Bao Shin sect?" Gwak Yang nodded. That's right. Woon Sowol clasped his hands. As an outsider, according to the rules here, I probably would have died a long time ago. But you didn't do anything to me, so thank you very much. Don't kill people. I'm more respectful than obeying orders. Gwak Yang smiled. I'm very satisfied with your attitude. We will try our best to bring convenience to you. I hope you will forgive me. He then asked Gwakmi. Okay, now you can tell father what happened outside. After telling Gwak Yang everything, Gwakmi immediately Woon Sowol left. She sighed as she walked away. It's good that you listened to my father, but there's nothing wrong with you, right? Woon Sowol nodded. This is the best solution. Gwakmi worried. At that time I was really worried that you would refuse our proposal. After all, the majority of people in the Valley of Secrets, I still don't trust you too much. If you insist on rushing out, it will be very dangerous. Woon Sowol sighed. That's right. If you just told me the story of how I saved you, there wouldn't be many suspicions. But you tell me about Supreme Chrysanthemum and being captured, and about me working for you. You said, how can anyone trust me? Gwakmi shook her head repeatedly. No, are you stupid? Woon Sowol's face is full of doubt. I'm stupid, what do you mean? Gwakmi explained. People's hearts are unpredictable. Only by looking at the outside, who can know what kind of person you are? So this matter cannot be hidden. In case someone else finds out later, there will be other things. Hide it. When you want to explain, it will be difficult. So from the beginning you should still tell everything, so it will be easier to talk later. This is a matter of attitude. Believing that people this takes time to accumulate. I believe that in the future everyone will gradually trust you. Woon Sowol smiled and looked at her. If I am really stupid, then you are someone who is both smart and stupid. Gwakmi's face is full of confusion. Huh? Both smart and stupid? Woon Sowol nodded. Yes, some people feel very confused, but sometimes you can say something useful to others. Gwakmi is a bit angry. Are you praising or criticizing me? After a while she excitedly suggested, yes, let's go see my brother Guang. Oh, let's go see the monarch of 1,000 demons. I still have to go deal with Supreme Chrysanthemum too. Golden Spider Silk, wait until the matter is over, then tell me to go deal with the matter at hand first. Woon Sowol, give your opinion. How do you feel about this? You go find the monarch of 1,000 demons of Miss. I'm going to get my Golden Spider Silk. What do you think? Gwakmi said harshly, it's impossible. I can't let you treat my lovely children harshly, and you're now the subject of my surveillance. I have to follow you like a shadow. Okay. Woon Sowol sighed helplessly, not knowing who could leave whom. Gwakmi said proudly, tell you that the monarch of 1,000 demons' brother is the best healer. He is a genius in taming demonic beasts. Most of us are able to have 2 or 3 rare demonic beasts like golden silk spiders thanks to his efforts. Woon Sowol, surprisingly, most of us are. What's wrong? Gwakmi didn't explain and quickly ran away. Let's go quickly. He's quiet sometimes but is also very sociable. Woon Sowol quickly chased after her. The monarch of 1,000 demons? There is indeed some expectation. Second master, this world is indeed very vast. After walking for a while, Gwakmi spoke again to remind him, hey, don't be too scared. Woon Sowol asked doubtfully, afraid of what? Gwakmi explained, later you will see a scene like a nightmare, but please rest assured that there is no danger. Woon Sowol's face was still full of doubt. The scene looked like an evil. What does dream mean? Very quickly his face wrinkled. This feeling is so familiar. This sound is from golden-toothed locusts. Gwakmi was surprised. How do you know this type of insect? Woon Sowol replied calmly, of course he knew. It's not like he's not used to fighting. He looked at the group of golden-toothed locusts in the palace and thought to himself, "Soon we can meet their owner." "GWAK, you quickly ran away excitedly, oh Guang brother. I'm here, it's you GWAK. That young man was practicing some kind of strategy, and when he heard her calling, he immediately stopped. I turned my head to look again. I heard that you were attacked by Lord Monarch. But as soon as he finished speaking, he stopped, squinted his eyes and stared at Woon Sowol. Woon Sowol was also looking at him with high eyebrows at this time. Staring at him, GWAKMI excitedly ran over to introduce himself. "This brother is Mr. Woon Sowol. He is my benefactor who saved my life. Please don't hurt him." Oh Guang snorted coldly, "Can't you hurt him? So he killed more than 20,000 golden-toothed locusts. How is this debt calculated?" Woon Sowol calmly replied, "Not just 20,000 children. Even 200,000 children are legitimate defense, right?" Oh Guang said harshly, "If it weren't for you, I would have killed all those sect scum. If you had let them go, then you would have died instead." Woon Sowol replied without any weakness, "So what? I also want to teach my opponent in the early stages of the Yongluang period how powerful he is." GWAKMI saw the two of them swinging their bows and swords like that, so he immediately stood up to advise, "Wait. Oh Guang brother and my real brother, I am a close brother. It was only after my brother was arrested that he became like that. As long as a doctor enters the poisonous swamp, he will immediately attack without discrimination." "Nothing. That's right, oh Guang brother, I have something to ask. You must answer me." Oh Guang is confused, "What's the matter?" GWAKMI quickly said, "Now I really need fat earthworms." Woon Sowol heard that and was secretly surprised. "Aren't fat earthworms something in the magical beast forest?" Oh Guang heard that and immediately shook his head, "No, these are all my treasures and cannot be given to you." GWAKMI tried to advise, "Why? If you want to borrow it for a while, it won't kill it." Woon Sowol was surprised in his heart, "Won't he die? After taking the lifespan of fat earthworms, don't they all basically die? Why did she say there was a way to keep it from dying?" Negotiate with Oh Guang for a moment. GWAKMI then raised his hand to Woon Sowol and said, "Okay, give me supreme chrysanthemum. I will give you as much golden spider silk as you need. Quickly get the things out here." Woon Sowol heard that and immediately put his hand into his sleeve to search. After a moment, GWAKMI raised supreme chrysanthemum towards Oh Guang and asked, "Do you know what I took it for?" "I want to find the monarch of 1,000 poisons, old man, to help me make acid poison." "Brother, you also know how difficult it is to make acid poison. Now everything is ready. Only the lifespan of fat earthworms remains." Oh Guang calmly replied, "Then you can take supreme chrysanthemum to a place with enough spiritual energy to continue nurturing it, then wait a few more years." Star? And GWAKMI, "I told you long ago, don't run around like that anymore." GWAKMI explained, "Oh Guang brother, because you wanted to deal with the sect. You made this poison, at that time, it will definitely be useful, and in the future, don't say those words telling me to obediently wait. My real brother has been taken away. For me, it's just the loss of someone. Friends. But for me, it was the loss of a relative. The one who was taken away was a resident of our Mango village. The heir to the position of two-faced monarch. I am now the only way. I don't want to live the days of hiding from winter and hiding from west anymore." Oh Guang frowned and stared at her without speaking. GWAKMI also stared at him without weakness. After a while, Oh Guang turned his head and sighed. "Okay, I will let you. Fat earthworms also agree to let you make acid poison. You just tell the monarch of 1,000 poisons old man to come over and help you prepare it. After use, when you're done, don't forget to give it back to me." "Okay, you can go." GWAKMI was a little disbelieving and excitedly asked, "Is that true?" Oh Guang took out a storage bag and gave it to her. "Take it away. The main question is, how much do you need to increase the lifespan of supreme chrysanthemum?" GWAKMI put her chin in thought. The current lifespan of supreme chrysanthemum is 800, so it needs to be increased to 200 years from now. Oh Guang is a bit angry and harsh. "Don't you say GWAK is just a little short? 200 years is not enough? Okay, go ahead and tell the old man the monarch of 1,000 poisons to come out and help you prepare it. After using it, remember to bring it back to me. I still have to go feed the fat earthworms so they can recover." GWAK. You smiled happily. Hi, if you don't say anything I already know what to do. Okay, then I'm going. Oh Guang then glanced at Woon Sowol again. Woon Sowol saw him look over, immediately clasped his hands in appreciation. It can be seen that the profound knowledge of the monarch of 1,000 demons is the blessing of my 3 generations. Oh Guang coldly snorted. You kid turned around too quickly. Woon Sowol was pulled away by Gwakmi and smiled shyly. Haha, I have eyes but can't see the mountain. In the future I hope the monarch of 1,000 demons will teach me more. Okay, don't waste any more words, let's go quickly. Thank you, Oh Guang brother. Oh Guang waited for them to leave before turning around and sighing, what should I do? Woon Sowol followed Gwakmi running for a while and couldn't help but ask, that's right, are we now going to the monarch of 1,000 poisons that you just talked about? Gwakmi nodded. Yes, he is the person we are about to meet now. Woon Sowol asked again, if he is the monarch of 1,000 poisons then he is very knowledgeable about poisons, right? Gwakmi proudly replied, yes, not only knowledgeable, it can be said that he is the #1 poison master in the world. Somewhere in Mango village, an old man, the man was sitting under a cliff. He suddenly laughed and exclaimed, he looks like a distinguished guest is coming to visit. Woon Sowol followed Gwakmi for a while, then suddenly he looked at the pieces of cloth hanging on the roof, doubtfully asked, what is that? Is it some sort of slogan? Gwakmi explained that it was a warning not to get too close because from here onwards it is the territory of thousands of poisonous plants. There are many types of poisonous plants here, so if a person does not know anything, there is no way to do so. If they want to defend themselves and enter at will, then it is very likely that they will never be able to come out again. Woon Sowol heard that. Cold sweat broke out uncontrollably. Is that so? The two of them then continued to walk up the stairs. After a while they arrived at the monarch of 1,000 poisons. As soon as they entered, Gwakmi called out loudly, Master. I'm here, I'm Gwakmi. After seeing no one respond, she couldn't help but wonder out loud, where are you? Normally he's here. The monarch of 1,000 poisons, the old man normally won't leave here. Woon Sowol glanced in the distance and said, is that him? Gwakmi followed his direction and just looked back. Oh yes, old man. This girl had already collected enough ingredients. She ran headlong without paying attention to the prohibition. His body immediately encountered a restriction and retreated back. Dang Moon Jae did not say a word and gently raised his hand to wave. Woon Sowol behind Gwakmi, seeing that, he quickly moved forward. Gwakmi, I'm scared to see you going past the ban. How could you do that? As soon as Woon Sowol entered Dang Moon Jae, he asked, how did you do it? Woon Sowol in doubt, Junior doesn't know what you're talking about. Dang Moon Jae explained, this is a toxic grass field. To avoid hurting others I deliberately placed a restriction to separate it from the outside. But it seems that it has no effect on you. Woon Sowol clasped his hands and smiled. He really didn't dare to hide from his younger brother the 5 poisons. Dang Moon Jae heard that and couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha kid, you really know how to joke. Looks like Gwakmi has brought back a very interesting kid. Gwakmi outside listened to the two of them conversing with a blank face, not understanding anything at all. Dang Moon Jae went out to give instructions. I'll go handle Gwakmi's business and then come back to talk to you. Gwakmi immediately laid out a pile of poisonous herbs. What will you see, old man? Dang Moon Jae nodded. Well, the ingredients are enough. It's just a pity that the shelf life of Supreme Chrysanthemum is not enough. Gwakmi smiled. You don't need to worry about this. In short, you will help you made acid poison, right? Dang Moon Jae nodded. Of course. Wait for me to plant Supreme Chrysanthemum in the ground, then wait another 200 years and I will help you. Gwakmi put her hand inside her shirt to explore. 200 years later, you wait a bit. Very quickly she took out the storage bag that Oh Guang gave her earlier. These are the fat earthworms that I asked for from Oh Guang brother. Dang Moon Jae was surprised to see that. Fat earthworms? Did that kid obediently hand over these worms to me? Gwakmi smiled. Hi, that's natural. Oh Guang brother really loves you. Dang Moon Jae took the cloth bag and sighed. It's not that simple, even this kid needs it. Acid poison? He couldn't see any worms coming out, so he exclaimed, "These kids were all very shy and didn't want to go out." Very quickly, a giant worm came out from inside and wrapped itself around them. Took his hand. He quickly brought them to the garden. "Is it the light here that makes you uncomfortable? I will bring you back to the ground right now." Woon Sowol next to him silently nodded. It's true that fat earthworms don't like light. He raised his head and looked at the ceiling in surprise. It was a spirit. Pure stone. This is often used to create or activate teleportation formations. Is this Mango village so rich in resources that this is used as a light storage? GWAKMI excitedly followed Dang Moon Jae with great interest. Soon the supreme chrysanthemum was planted in the ground. Fat earthworms were also dropped next to it. Dang Moon Jae finished everything and breathed out. Now we just have to wait. We have provided dense spiritual soil above, which is very beneficial for them to absorb. These worms raised by O Guang are so fat and plump. If they absorb a little more spiritual energy, they will probably be successful. Woon Sowol's eyes were so big he was so surprised, he really couldn't believe himself. Being able to see this scene with my own eyes, it's really getting more and more interesting. The more Woon Sowol watched, the more excited they became, while GWAKMI was the complete opposite. She watched for a while then turned around and breathed. "It's long, it's so boring." After a while, Dang Moon Jae immediately raised his hand to stimulate spiritual energy. "Okay, let's start." Woon Sowol saw his movements and asked suspiciously. He was sucking spiritual energy later. Dang Moon Jae replied, "That's right. The characteristic of fat earthworms is to move according to spiritual energy. Lure them into the root of supreme chrysanthemum. Wait for them to go to the bathroom and that's it. We need to gradually instruct. If it's too fast it will be counterproductive." "Aren't you bored? I still have to do a little more." Woon Sowol is still extremely attentive, not bored. I find it very interesting. The more Woon Sowol looks, the more fascinated he becomes that he can't take his eyes off. It's so magical. Go. If I can get fat earthworms, I can increase the efficiency of weaving several times. I really want to see what's going on in the soil. I can't wait to put my head into the soil. Let's see with our own eyes. If we can also have fat earthworms, it will be extremely beneficial. After a while, you will be surprised again. Huh? Supreme chrysanthemum seems to be taller than before. Is it growing? It is indeed growing. The tree has grown. The flower color has also become darker. I did not expect the growth rate to be so fast. Dang Moon Jae nodded with satisfaction. Almost done. Wait a little longer, mister. He raised his hand again and waved a finger. He pulled out all the fat earthworms in the ground. He then quickly caught them and put them inside the spirit beast bag. Then he collected them. Again, just that kid O Guang has to take care of fat earthworms for a few more years. GWAKMI on the side excitedly ran over. Did Grandpa succeed? Dang Moon Jae nodded. Well, the lifespan of supreme chrysanthemum has reached 1,000. You can now start making acid poison. It will take about half a month to make. GWAKMI is a bit sad. Wow. Why did it take so long? Dang Moon Jae is angry. What took so long? Do you know how much time other people need? In return, you probably won't be able to finish it for 10 years. GWAKMI smiled. Hi, I know, I was just joking. Dang Moon Jae seduced. GWAKMI took this opportunity to study with me. How to make poison. I'm worried that in the future you will replace your brother to accept that mask. That mask is not an easy thing to wear. If you want to wear it, you have to pay a huge price. Woon Sowol heard them talking and was suspicious. I thought to myself, what about a mask? When GWAKMI heard that, her face immediately darkened. Then she shouted in excitement, what are you talking about? Your brother will definitely return. The only heir to the position of monarch is my brother. Woon Sowol secretly analyzed. Two-faced monarch plus mask. Between these two things there is finally a difference. What relationship? Dang Moon Jae saw her so excited and coughed. I know, it seems I've been thinking too much. He suddenly turned his head to look at Woon Sowol. Hey, you said before that your body had 5 poisons. Invasion, right? Woon Sowol nodded. That's right, senior. Dang Moon Jae ordered. Then come over here and try this poison of mine. Woon Sowol secretly thought in his heart, after I tested the poison of the 7 silver-scaled snake, I've never encountered this kind of poison before. Let's take this opportunity to try it. Gwakmi worriedly raised his voice. Mr. Dang must be gentle. Dang Moon Jae smiled. I know, you don't worry, I have my own moderation.